House Intel Committee Ranking Member Devin Nunes. I got to be honest, I know more about this than maybe you want me to reveal, so I will let you say it in your own words. I saw the report about you. I happen to know a lot of it is outright lies. Now, what are you planning to do?
Well, Sean, like we've seen so many times over the last 3 years, every time House Republicans on the Intelligence Committee come up with real information and put it out there, what do? They smear the messenger. And the problem that CNN has this time and the Daily Beast is, look, I understand the last week and a half, it was a disaster for them. It was a train wreck for them. So what did they have to do? They had to come out and say, well, look, Devin Nunes was actually the one that was meeting with all of these Ukrainians. So sorry, CNN, it's totally false. So we put out a very clear statement after the story came out on Friday night, saying it's demonstrably false, total fake news. And I will tell you, Sean, for all of the last 3 years, including the Russia hoax to the Ukraine hoax, this is the mother of all fake news stories. There is not one bigger than this. And so next week, we are going to take them to court. They will have an opportunity to come to court so that we can subpoena each other, we can get discovery, we can set people down for depositions. And I have a bet for you, Sean. CNN and the Daily Beast are going to run for cover. They're going to fight this. They're not going to show up in court. They're not going to accept service. So look, but at the end of the day, I'm going to track them down. And I'm going to hold them accountable because this has just gone on for too long, and this is the only way we're going to be able to get retribution and be able to seek fairness and transparency in the media is by holding them accountable.
I applaud what you're doing. I really do. And actually, I'm pretty close to doing the same thing in some ways myself, which I won't talk about tonight. But as a public figure, our standard is high. Absence of malice. Look at Nicholas Sandmann. I would say the odds that this kid is going to be worth hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars is pretty high because they lied about that kid. Even when the facts came out, they kept lying. And I would suspect that they're going to want to settle and have non-disclosure agreements at the end of it. It's harder, but it's important, I think. We're getting to a point that they've got to be held accountable. How spectacular is the lie on, say, a scale 1 to 100, of the lies that they told about you?
Well, your scale of 1 to 100 would not be, they would blow the scale apart because it would be 1,000. So, look, I don't know how to describe it better. I made a clear statement on Friday night. Demonstrably false and scandalous fake news. Look, there were 5 other agencies, media agencies, that had this same fake news story that decided not to run it. 2 months before. We have others that had the same story. So, look, I think it's also a little bit fake news, Sean, that these media companies they tell a story so often it just becomes true that, oh, you're a public figure. Well, we're a public figure, but really, if you have reckless disregard for the truth and actual malice, and I mean, are you kidding me? Have you been watching CNN or reading the Daily Beast for the last 3 years? I mean, if they have malice towards anyone, I mean, obviously the president they have the most malice for, but clearly they have malice towards myself and the House Republicans.
Oh, yeah,
and
they don't like you. They don't like me either. I have lawyer recommendations. I consider Lynn Wood. He represents Nicholas Sandmann. Charles Harder. Remember, he won in the Gawker case. I'd like to see these guys get a lot of work, and I think they might. Congressman, thank you for sharing. We're going to watch very closely what happens with this suit. Also tonight, support for impeachment is plummeting, especially among independents. That's why one Washington Post reporter is actually claiming Democrats on the Hill, they're starting to get cold feet about this whole impeachment vote. Told you last week was a disaster. While Republican support for the president has solidified, Democrats are running scared. Here with more, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. I will say this, and I've been hard.